Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this afternoon's Tropical Atlantic Basin update. So, newly formed potential tropical cyclone 16 has formed, and as of 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Thursday, September the 21st, potential tropical cyclone 16 has maximum sustained winds of 35 miles per hour, a minimum central pressure of 1,012 millibars, and northerly movement at 9 miles per hour, and has a 60% chance of tropical cyclone formation over the next 48 hours, and 60% chance of tropical cyclone formation over the next 7 days. We have Hurricane Nigel with 85-mile-per-hour winds, a 977 millibar central pressure, and northeasterly movement at 30 miles per hour. And then we have a disturbance that is likely going to move towards the Caribbean with an 80% chance of tropical cyclone formation over the next 7 days and a 40% chance of tropical cyclone formation over the next 48 hours. But I'm going to be focusing in on newly formed PTC-16 in this video. So looking at the latest cone for potential tropical cyclone 16, potential tropical cyclone 16 is expected to become a full-fledged tropical storm by 8 p.m. Eastern Time Friday evening and make a landfall 8 a.m. Saturday morning Eastern Time in eastern North Carolina around the Outer Banks, move across eastern Virginia by 8 p.m. Saturday evening, weakening to a depression by 8 a.m. Sunday morning over the Chesapeake Bay, and then curving out to sea just south of Long Island by 8 a.m. Monday morning. And we already have tropical storm warnings in effect for most of the Carolina coast from Wilmington through the Outer Banks, through Virginia, Virginia Beach, into areas of the Delmarva in the blue. So looking at the interactive Zoom Earth satellite imagery in Cone 4, potential tropical cyclone 16. Potential tropical cyclone 16 looks like an upper level low right now and has yet to acquire tropical characteristics. 35 mile per hour potential tropical cyclone as of 4:10 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Going into Friday 1 a.m. Central Time, we're looking at a 45 mile per hour potential tropical cyclone moving to the north. Friday 1 p.m. Central Time, 50 mile per hour potential tropical cyclone curving to the northwest. By Saturday 1 a.m. Central Time, a 60 mile per hour tropical storm moving to the northwest, approaching North Carolina by early Saturday morning, and then making a landfall sometime Saturday morning in central coastal North Carolina, moving through eastern North Carolina by Saturday 1 p.m. is a 60 mile per hour tropical storm just east of Greenville. Across southeastern Virginia by Sunday 1 a.m. is a 40 mile per hour tropical storm. Towards the Chesapeake Bay by Sunday 1 p.m. Central Time as a 35 mile per hour post-tropical cyclone eastern Maryland, cutting through Delaware into southeastern New Jersey by Monday 1 p.m. Central Time as a 30 mile per hour post-tropical cyclone. So looking at the latest model guidance for potential tropical cyclone 16, looking at the 12Z run of the GFS model, we're going to see a lot of heavy rain approach the Outer Banks of North Carolina by 10 a.m. Friday morning Eastern Time, as we see a strengthening, potentially a tropical storm by Friday. Going into the Friday afternoon, the rain's going to spread up into eastern Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, into New Jersey early Saturday morning as potential tropical cyclone 16 nears landfall in North Carolina. Rain's going to spread across much of North Carolina, Virginia, into the mid-Atlantic. By Saturday morning, could be seeing very heavy rain as potential tropical cyclone 16 makes landfall by Saturday morning around 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Very heavy rain across North Carolina, southeast Virginia. Rain spreading into areas of New England, Cape Cod, Long Island. And then as we go into Saturday evening, we see PTC 16 move up towards eastern Virginia, bringing heavy rain across much of Virginia, through Washington, D.C., into Maryland and Delaware, with rain across New England continuing. And then even as we go into Saturday night, Sunday morning, we see PTC 16 begin to dissipate, but rain continuing across Pennsylvania, Maryland, into New Jersey. And even into Monday, rain continuing across areas of New England and the Northeast. So looking at the European model, the 12Z run, similar to the GFS, we see a shield of rain moving up into North Carolina and southeastern Virginia through the day Friday. Going into Friday night, we see a potential tropical storm just off of the Carolina coast with moderate to heavy rain across Maryland, Delaware, moving into New Jersey into Long Island. And then going into Saturday morning, we see potentially a landfall in the Outer Banks with heavy rain in eastern North Carolina, Virginia, rain spreading up through New Jersey into Connecticut, Rhode Island, and then going into Saturday afternoon, rain spreading across Cape Cod, very heavy rain across eastern North Carolina and Virginia in the 12Z run of the Euro, and then the Euro continues to move likely Tropical Storm Ophelia northward into Sunday morning. Rain continues across Pennsylvania, moving into New York State, and continues across New England into Sunday night and early Monday morning. Now looking at the Canadian model shows heavy rain spreading across North Carolina and Virginia through the day Friday, and then as we go into Friday night, early Saturday morning, heavy rain across Maryland, Delaware, southeast Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and much of Virginia. And the Canadian has a landfall somewhere in Cape Hatteras, so a little bit further to the northeast than the Euro and GFS. And then the Canadian brings heavy rain through most of the mid-Atlantic, Virginia, through Saturday evening, even Saturday night. Sunday morning, we see the rain moving across the northeast as potential tropical cyclone 16 dissipates by Monday. So this is going to cause a lot of rainfall across the mid-Atlantic and northeast. Looking at the GFS model for rainfall accumulations, the GFS model is putting widespread areas of 3 to 5 inches across far eastern North Carolina, central southeastern Virginia, and then in the central areas of Virginia and North Carolina, about 1 to 2 inches, much of Maryland, about 1 to 3 inches, portions of the Delmarva, 3 to 4 inches, and then moving into southeast Pennsylvania, about 2 to 4 inches, isolated 5 inches, same with New Jersey, southern New York, and then New England in Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, about 1 to 3 inches, and then areas of Cape Cod could see as much as 4 to 5 inches of rain. According to the GFS model, looking at the European model is showing much of the same as the GFS, about widespread 3 to 5 inches, isolated pockets of 6 inches in eastern North Carolina and Virginia, through southeastern Maryland, about 2 to 3 inches. Same with Delaware, about 2 to 4 inches, New Jersey, about 2 to 3 inches, and then Massachusetts, southeast New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, 1 to 3 inches, and then Cape Cod, Nantucket, and Martha's Vineyard, about 3 to 5 inches in the 12Z run of the European model. And looking at the 12Z run of the Canadian model, the Canadian is showing pretty much the same thing with some heavier rain totals across upstate New York, central Pennsylvania, Vermont, New Hampshire, most of New England, about widespread 2 to 4 inches and pockets of 5 inches, with about 3 to 5 inches, pockets of 6 to 7 inches in the Delmarva and eastern Virginia and the Outer Banks. So if I do believe that potential tropical cyclone 16, regardless of whether it becomes a tropical storm or not, is going to create a major flooding threat across areas of North Carolina, Virginia, into the Northeast and New England, especially where there's been a whole lot of rain over the last several months, and the soils are very saturated across the Northeast. So thanks for watching this evening's update on potential tropical cyclone 16. I'll continue to do updates on PTC 16 over the next several days, as PTC 16 is going to bring some serious impacts to the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, as well as this disturbance as potentially going to impact the Caribbean. Thanks for watching this afternoon's tropical update. Please stay safe and have a wonderful afternoon, my friends.